Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day in the Elder Scrolls. Today we will be covering Sunspire as well as the increased difficulty. I will bring some insight on how to complete the trial as well as some ideas on how to complete it if your group is struggling. So saddle up, get your spells ready, and let's get to it. Okay guys, first up is going to be Loki. He's the Ice Dragon. Let's go ahead and get started with the ground phase. The most important mechanic on the ground phase is going to be the ice tombs. They will spawn periodically throughout the fight, and only one tomb will spawn at a time. How you combat this is one healer needs to be assigned to heal players going into the tombs, and 3 DPS need to be assigned to enter them. Generally, 1 DPS will be assigned to a specific one to eliminate confusion. By the time the third one enters shortly, the first DPS's debuff will fall off and they'll be able to re-enter the following. Frozen tombs will occur as long as the dragon stays grounded. Let's go ahead and break down the group's responsibilities. The main tank will tank the boss on one side, while the DPS will remain on the opposite. Careful not to get too close to the wings because the boss will do a cleave on anyone near them and knock those players back. Main tank's job will be to find a comfy medium between the boss and the back of the arena. This being said, if the tank is too far back, they will get hit by a high direct damage attack. If they are too close to the boss will bite them. With addition to this, there's a frontal cone attack that the boss will do as well. The off-tank's primary focus should be the Frost Astronauts, and they should tank them DPS side in the back of the arena. However, they need to be very careful of the ice tombs as they spawn. At around 80, 50, and 20%, the boss will go into the air and commence the air phase. In non-hard mode, the main tank will take the 2 Astronauts by him. Everyone with the exception of the off-tank will rush tank side and start killing the Storm Astronauts from exit to entrance. Once the Storm Astronauts hit execute, they will start erupting and damaging everyone in the raid until killed. Once the Storm Astronauts are killed, they will leave a lightning field. Use these fields to kill the Frost Astronauts by dragging them through it. Generally, it will take 2 fields to kill 1 Frost Astronaut. Periodically, Loki will target random players with a huge AoE that will move with the player. 2 ways to cancel this out. 1. Everyone must block in the circle, or 2. The player targeted should run out and make sure no players are within. Loki will start making strafing attacks through the arena. If there's a lightning field blocking your way, make sure you are healed at least 3/4 of the way and roll dodge through. Furthermore, no player should remain or stand too close to this area. Lastly, Hyper Beam. On non-hard mode, it would be great not to have any astronauts in execute and for players to be topped off before this occurs. Otherwise than that, just block when the Hyper Beam gets close and continue to block until it passes you. Loki's Hyper Beam will occur at the end of the first air phase, at the beginning of the second, and close to the end of the third. All of these mechanics will persist through each phase until execute. At execute, like in previous phases, you'll have Astronauts and Ice Tombs. However, execute gives Loki a new ability, Frozen Meteors. Frozen Meteors will continue to bombard the group and stun on impact. Don't freak out, just roll with it and keep up with the Ice Tombs. If all of these are done and not left unchecked, there's a high probability for success. The hard mode changes are as follows. There's going to be 6 ice tombs during the ground phase instead of the initial 3. Do not enter if you're low on health. You will lose approximately 3/4 of your maximum health when entering. If you don't have enough health to compensate, you will shatter and kill everyone around you. Ground and air phases now have fire astronauts. If left up, they will explode and devastate the group. Frost and Storm astronauts now come more frequently during the ground phase. Hyper Beam now becomes a group murderer. Above is a diagram I've used in the past to show how to split the group so healing shouldn't be too much of a problem. Keep in mind that when being hit by Hyper Beam, you'll be given an AoE at your feet. These circles more than likely will have to overlap. However, should not hit your buddy next to you. Remember, overlap, yes, yes, touch your buddy? No, no. Overhealing needs to persist while these AoEs are present. Tip 1 is for the groups who are struggling to complete. We use 2 support DPS wardens, and we basically use them for the ice tombs for extra healing, as well as an anchor point and additional healing during Hyper Beam. The DPS loss is so minimal, it's not much of a factor, and later I'll post some builds, gameplay, and explanation for the use. For the groups that are having problems with sustain, we use Symphony of Blaze on both healers and support DPS. The reason is, this monster set is better when it's used with more and more people. So 4 players running it in a group of 12 was perfect sustain. Tip number 3 is kind of like a common sense no-brainer type of thing. I mean, communicate and communicate. Tanks and healers working together to control raids will make it go so much smoother. The window for missing anything narrows by the information they share. And ultimately, if they're sharing back and forth and everybody sees what's going on, it could eliminate so many wipes. Tip number 4, be proactive. Know what's coming next. If you see tombs are about to occur and you're next to be in, be looking for it. Tip number 5, relax. If you're scared of making a mistake and you get really tense, you're not having any fun. Okay, this boss is Unicajole, so let's go ahead and get to the ground phase. A lot will be going on, so focusing here will be key. So the main tank's responsibility will be controlling Unicajole. Unicajole has the same basic attacks as the rest of the dragons in this trial. He has Bite, a ranged GP, and a Breath. However, on the first hit of Flame Breath, this will cause an AoE at your feet. So to get around this, just move right outside towards the wing zone, and wait for it to be placed, and then recenter yourself. Otherwise, it's the same as tanking the previous boss. The off-tank's responsibility is a little bit more complex. I would position yourself in the back of the arena on every quartile. Here you will be taunting and chaining Iron Servants and Flame Astronauts. You can expect to have 1 Iron Servant and 2 Flame Astronauts every revolution cycle of the boss, i.e. the faster the boss is pushed, the less astronauts you have to control. Okay, so DPS and healers, you're going to be on the opposite side of where the tank is. Also, you're going to split yourself into groups of 5, 1 healer and 4 DPS. The reason why is 1 person inside these groups will be targeted with an eruption AoE that will repeatedly cause damage for a few seconds and leave a debuff on everybody's inside the circle. If struck again by this eruption while debuffed, it will result in certain death. In addition to watching out for these eruptions, you will also be targeted by a lava geyser from Flame Astronauts from time to time. I would just step backwards out of these and back into the group after it happens. The boss will be pushed into the air every 25%. Once the boss goes into the air, everyone needs to get to the outer ring and immediately start killing the Flame Astronauts. The reason for this is the Flame Astronauts die and they leave puddles of lava on the ground, and the Unicajola's air ability, Cataclysm, clears this. After Cataclysm, Iron Servants will become enraged and take a considerable amount of damage. However, they will dish a considerable amount of damage as well. The off-tank needs to do whatever they can do to survive, i.e. Magma Shell DB, roll dodge, or just back out of the Iron Servant's hitbox. If not, the off-tank will be crushed in just a few hits. At the same time this is going on, the main tank needs to get in position. DPS and heals need to get close to their groups while getting rid of the Iron Servants. The reason for getting in your groups is because it's almost certain that the Flame Eruption AoE will start within seconds of the boss touching down. Additional information: every time the boss touches down, he will change his position by 90 degrees to the right. Also, keep in mind that almost all 5 players must remain in the AoE eruption or the damage from it will be too intense with the healer. Hard mode changes. The main tank will now control the boss and the Flame Astronauts. When the Flame Astronauts spawn, the main tank needs to taunt them and then chain them under the boss's feet. That's right, tank. It's time to get toasty. DPS, this will become your primary concern. You don't have a long time to ice them when they get underneath the boss. If they're not killed fast enough, they will turn blue and go after a random person. On contact, they will explode, killing anyone in the radius. The left healer should guard the main tank at all times. For one of the groups that ran with, I found this to be really useful. Time stops will occur. Just back out of them, and when they go away, move back in. This is just a few minor changes, but it can get rather messy really quick. Now for the last boss, Nabatas. Each ground phase will be started with a wave of ads, followed by a fire dance. Each ad wave will consist of at least one will, fate, ruin, and fury. However, 60% and 40% will consist of two fates. After clearing the ads and doing the fire dance, the whole group should hide behind a single statue. And Nabatas will do a fire spit, damaging any player not behind one of them, killing them instantly. Then the boss will land. During the 80% and 60% phases, portals will spawn somewhere around 90% and 50%. 3 DPS will need to go down into these portals and contend with the mini-boss's mechanics. These mechanics will include lightning circles at the player's speed. All they need to do is sidestep to avoid them. Frontal combos, ice balls similar to the bait's attack, pins which players will have to synergize with to remove the effect. Ideal to have players that are ranged and have some sort of healing to survive the boss's abilities to take the portals. With the boss during ground phase, tanks will have to contend with the attacks from the other dragons as well as Mark for Death. Mark for Death is a tank swap mechanic. Once the boss has been swapped, the tank that's marked returns to the majority of the group and helps with chaining flame astronauts to the boss's speed. Additional mechanics of Noventus for grounded phase is the head swipe, the flame wave. You'll basically start off on one side and move to the opposite, breathing fire the whole way continuously. Both of these can just be blocked. The other ability would be Soul Tear. If or when Soul Tear begins, healers need to overheal to remove the debuff before suffering casualties. When the boss lands at 40%, there will be no more portals or flight phases. However, the other ground mechanics and one new one are in play. The new mechanic is meteors. You will know what they are when they start because the Ventus will signal it with a roar and then the screen goes gold. If and when you are targeted, simply run to the outside ring. Hold block. When the meteor falls, it will leave a residual AoE on the ground. Just get out of it and return to the group. Feel free to tuck these AoEs in the boss's corners by DPS side to midway by the tank. It's important to note that players that die can still get targeted by this. So if they die where the DPS is standing, it's important to get them up ASAP before you get overran by ground-based AoEs. After the short execute phase, the trial will be completed. Now for the hard mode changes. There will be an ad upstairs that must be tanked, and hurts quite a bit, so make sure to avoid his specials and heavies. Also, he is vulnerable at times. This ad should not be tanked anywhere near the group. The downstairs mini has quite a bit more HP, I think anywhere from around 10 to 12 million. There is a rather short time period to dispatch him before he offends everyone and the game is over. Otherwise than that, guys, it just takes tons of practice and keep at it. If you liked the video, hit like it more, hit sub. And don't forget to smash that noti so that way you get notified for the new videos coming up. I wish you all the best of luck, and as always, I'm Uni, y'all are awesome.